pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody to the 1 o'clock December 4th, 2023 general meeting of the Southampton Town Trustees. Welcome everybody or anybody that's on the Zoom. I will ask the Secretary Treasurer to call the roll.
Edward J. Warner Jr.
Present.
Ann Walker.
Here.
William Parrish.
Present.
William Pell is present. Scott M. Horwitz present.
Present. Thank you.
We ready to go?
All right. So just for information, our next work session is going to be Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m., followed by a regular meeting on Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 1 p.m. I think we also may have some birthday festivities that we may partake in that day, so I just figured I would put that out there. So, but we can talk about that later.
Okay.
Okay.
It's your birthday again?
Hmm?
It's your birthday again?
No, Paris seems to have one every month.
Lucky him.
Yeah, so we've got some
Never keeps getting
communications.
I know it's Joe's birthday.
Big 6-0 for me.
Right,
It is?
Yeah.
so that means we get pizza with toppings, right?
You're the,
Only
you're
if
the
approved.
oldest in your class, right?
One of them.
Yeah.
The oldest guy in his class serving on the oldest elected board.
With the oldest president.
That was good.
I'm
Touche.
staying out of that.
Touche.
I skipped over you, Bill.
On that note, I'd like to dispense with the reading of the communications because enough has been announced already.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public portion. Is there anybody from the public who would like to speak today?
Hi, it's Mark McIntyre. I was here last time, I guess. What I wanted to share was I was thinking that perhaps my experience, which is in a slightly different context than yours, might yield to assisting you as trustees in some of the issues or work that you're trying to do and get accomplished. So I thought I'd just talk a little bit about, I had an idea or two that might make sense, may not, but I thought I'd give it a try. So who am I? I was, for the last 5 years, I was directed something called the Mayor's Office of Environmental Remediation in New York City. We did two things. They still do those two things. We run a brownfield program. In other words, we work with landowners and developers to guide them as to how they clean up contaminated property so they meet state DEC standards. So once that's accomplished, they can finalize their financing and they can also break ground on new construction. The other thing we did and do is we discovered and brought DEC along with this that deep excavations, that is going down a basement depth in New York City for a basement, the bottom 6 feet of that material is total glacial sediment and absolutely clean. So what we did is we persuaded DEC to allow us to separate the dirty top from the clean bottom, keep the clean bottom, and beneficially reuse it on construction projects across New York City. It's called the Clean Soil Bank. I understand, and my knowledge of what you all do is not great. I'm first to admit that. But sometimes there's issues with disposal of contaminated dredge sediment, sometimes. And we didn't work with dredge sediment in the city. We were more terrestrial than that. But sometimes, the solution to pollution is dilution. And I work closely with a significant soil broker in Riverhead and see whether or not it's possible to mix some of the contaminated sediment, depending on what the sediment, what those contaminants are, with clean material and reduce the complexity, the distance, and the cost involved in its ultimate disposal.
Sometimes it's just organics, it's not anything that's volatile, it's just a lot of just decaying organic material, where it's not deemed as beach compatible as like a grade A, where it's, more like, mucky or muddy versus sandy. It'll dry out, and it certainly,
In time.
it'll dry out in time, and it certainly can be mixed with other, and have an absolute beneficial use, because, in a lot of instances, it's not anything volatile, it's just organic.
Well, that's good. I mean,
You
It depends.
Yeah, well, then there's other projects
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's gotta be trucked,
Has heavy metals.
they gotta take it to the moon, it's.
Those projects, the other dredging projects that you're referencing with VOCs and volatile organic compounds, they never get done because there is no basically cradle to grave disposal.
for our VOCs,
A cost-effective cradle to grave disposal ability. It's too expensive for the projects to get done, and I can name one right off the top of my head, Smiths Creek in Hampton Bays. I mean, the town trustees had that sediment tested back in the 90s, and it had all kinds of, cadmium, lead.
metals.
Metals.
Yeah,
And basically, there was no place on the island that would accept that material.
right, right.
So if you could come up with some kind of basically graveyard for our dredging projects, our challenging dredging
Right.
projects, which there are quite a few of them, because we're gonna do one in North Haven that is gonna be a challenging project, because the last time we had to pay like, $16,000 to get rid of, 5,000 cubic, 4,000 cubic yards of material.
And it went a long way.
Yeah, it prohibits a lot of these projects to
Right.
get done. But the next one I'm looking at is the one that has been, I would say, 60 years on the burner to get a dredging project, which is a Fort Pond, the college.
Okay.
Old Fort Pond.
Okay,
And right now, there are talks of doing a dredging. The county's amenable to it. They've come up with a plan, they've come up with the permitting process, but we do not have a viable deposition, long-term deposition site for this material. So if you could come up with a graveyard for about 10,000 cubic
that's
yards
a lot, that's a good
of.
amount of material,
Why don't
of
we,
that material.
why don't we set
Yeah,
a time,
yeah.
an appropriate time
Yeah,
to
I
have a
would
more
love-
Yeah, we'll
appropriate
have more-
conversation, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'd love to, and
Yeah.
just see exactly what the contaminants are you're dealing with and where they're going
Because that's-
currently.
Also, you have the other creeks where the duck farms were.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
you
another
got
one.
Yeah.
Spionk, I know, but we get the one that's,
It's Smith Creek is the biggest one.
no.
Fort
the-
Pond.
The Fort Pond, basically the college and all the entities, the electeds have all gotten behind us. We just need to solve the deposition.
Well, because the
Disposal,
problem is, I think that the trucking portion of it falls on the responsibility of the town, and it's quite, expensive.
trucking's
The
expensive.
trucking, so
is
I
the big
think,
cost. Yeah.
so the whole logistical
Yeah.
approach to dewatering and trucking and disposal, I think if there's some methodology that works more,
Yeah.
economically.
I'm happy to look at it
logistically.
and like
So
to
why
get-
don't we,
Oh, I would,
this
Sure.
is a good
Yeah, this-
conversation starter.
Okay,
But I think what's really appropriate is that we set a meeting date and
Okay.
we have a
fine,
smaller
and
conversation.
whenever is good for you all, that'd be fine.
I'd say let the holidays
Yeah,
ride by, let a new board
whenever,
and a new
whenever it
year.
works.
Yeah, and then we
No,
can get some
okay.
new ideas and some new,
yeah, because there is gonna be a series of meetings with the college and the local community about this project. So
Oh.
when I find out the dates and times of these meetings when they're coming up, I would like to get you contact.
Sure,
and maybe-
sure, I'll share it with you.
I'm not sure they're
Yeah,
set
yeah,
yet, but
yeah.
they will be.
No, they're not set,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, that's,
It'll
I'll
probably
be,
be further into.
be
the
happy.
spring.
yeah,
Yeah.
happy to come to that,
yeah,
to
this
those
would
meetings.
be
Yeah, right.
huge.
The other thing I just wanted to mention, unrelated to that, and this is you all, obviously in the acreage that you manage and oversee, there's wetlands, obviously. And I wondered if there were opportunities in certain of those areas to think about trying to augment and expand those wetlands. And I saw in the East Hampton paper last week that the Nature Conservancy is working with the East Hampton Town Trustees. The Conservancy is going for a grant from federal NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, to do 5 wetland augmentation projects. One of them is in Shinnecock Bay, adjacent to the reservation, according to the article. So I just wondered whether that was something that you'd like to explore, maybe you have explored.
We've been part and
but-
parcel of the whole project.
Excuse me?
We've been part of it. We permitted it through
That was
Cornell.
You
the
did.
original.
That
That
was
was
the
the
original shoreline restoration with the living shoreline. We advocated for the county to do the dredging on the east cut, to place the material down there on the reservation so that they had material to work with. So I think our board has been very supportive of that project,
Mhm.
or stages of it all along.
Right, but anything that's bumping into Shinnecock is gonna have to go through the town trustees,
E-
Southampton Town.
Even little projects, like when we were talking to, the one out in North Haven, with the
Oh, Gannett
bulkhead
Creek?
in that creek, making that one corner a low sill and rebuilding the wetlands there.
Uh-huh,
So we even try to do it in little spots here and there,
yeah. It's,
soften it up.
expanding wetlands
It's good.
is such an important thing to do, and you all have a unique oversight over some very valuable material and resources. So, anyway, to be continued, and be
Yeah.
happy, should I give my
Absolutely,
contact
give it to
information
James.
to James?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Happy to do it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Well, thank you
Appreciate-
so much for coming and
Yeah,
speaking.
thanks for coming.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I like trying to follow
Appreciate
what
it.
you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I'm very interested. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public? Anybody on Zoom, Charles? Any hands?
Charles?
Let's move.
I guess
guess
you always
We
can come
could
back.
always come back
I think
to
that's enough. Okay, let's get into the applications for permits. The Board of Trustees hereby waive a public hearing on the following applications because it has been determined that the following projects do not raise a significant degree of public interest or public input is not needed to aid in the decision-making process. Trustee Parish.
Trustee Resolution 2023-334. Applicant is Kristen Chu, First Coastal. And it's the application of Roger Ross, 104 Point Road, Village of West Hampton Beach, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 905-17-2-4, body of water, Moriches Bay.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 23-331, Budget and Financing. Resolution to amend the Board of Trustees fee schedule for 2024.
Are we gonna go through these?
We already
Do you-
did,
No, I mean, just to,
You want to list all of these?
what's that?
You want to list
No,
all?
just the changes. Should we? Or is that, oh, no, maybe it's
It's
too
too
much.
much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Well, you can group them though,
They're
because
not-
that was all done in work session.
Yes, it was all done in work session, and everybody had some input. Trustee Pell, if you want to go through the yellow ones quickly,
okay,
Just grouping them.
just,
There's been an increase in plover inspection and monitoring
I know.
fees.
If you be quiet, I could do it. Beach event, pipe and plover inspection from $250 to $350. Pipe and plover monitor fee is from $650 to $750. Commercial access permit for faculty that's using the docks is at $1,000. Application fees from $500 to $600. As built from $2,000 to $3,000. Amend permit is for $400 to $500. Renew $400 to $500. Modify and renew application fee is $800 to $1,000. Re-inspection is $300. Bulkhead per linear foot includes from $10 to $20. Fixed dock surface is from 10 to 15. Float docks 10 to 15. Jetties, revive it, riprap, living shoreline is $10 to $15. Ramps, catwalks per square foot is $10 to $20. Sand fence is $5 to $7.50. Walkway per square foot of surface area is $5 to $20. Boat lift or hoist is $500. Residence kayak rack is from $100 to $125. Kayak permit for 22 Little Neck Road is from 100 to 125. Actually, all the kayak racks went up to 125.
And the senior citizens.
The senior citizen is $75.
Stayed the same.
Stay the same.
And there's 4 new locations at the bottom.
And there's
The
4
ones
new
that are
closings.
underlined.
Corwin Lane, Cold Spring Pond, and Trident Lane, and Shinnecock Road are all new locations. Temporary placement of mooring for fireworks or other commercial activity is $350. Trustee road review is from $19,000 to $25,000. I think that's it.
Nicely done.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Parish, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2023-335 authorizes the payment to Robert H. Fox, DBA Sea Level Mapping for boat ramps. I recommend its approval.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2023-336 authorizes payment to Delandrio Andrews Engineering for boat ramps.
Second.
Seconded trustee Pell, all in favor?
Those are
And just to be clear, it's 3 boat ramps.
Yes.
Yes.
Corwin Lane, Conic Road, and Mill Creek.
Yes.
Budget, trustee resolution 2023-337, budget and finance, authorized payment of service to automatic rentals, ARI.
Any
This
amount.
was as a result of an auto accident.
Water accident. So further resolved that source of the funds should be out of trustee roads other than GLS SN-998-791-00-6420-000, amount not to exceed $11,093.26.
Discussion? Second?
Second.
I'll second it. We do need to work on this as a procedure in
Yeah.
2024, because we're gonna pay for this, but this needs to be sorted out. This is a payment as a result of an automobile
Yeah,
accident,
it's a-
and damage to a vehicle, and I think this
That we
should,
use to service trustee roads?
yeah, this should be handled differently, but I will second it. Let's get this contract paid, this contractor paid, trucks
Yes.
fixed. So I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It needs to be handled now, therefore, that's the reason it's being done in this way.
Yeah.
2023-338, budget and finance, authorize the purchase of, for 24 labors and ink.
I'll second that.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
2023-339, waterfowl hunting location. 2023-24, waterfowl hunting location application for late renewal, whereas Board of Trustees find the subject is a type 2 action pursued with 6 NYCRR Part 617, and no further environmental review is required under the State Environmental Act. Mark
Puffier.
Lafayette and John Scott, permit 55. John M. Vittoria, permit number 239. Randolph Reese, permit 145. Robert Renner, permit 160. John M. Venora, 268.
I'll second that, Bill.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're gonna resolve that, we're gonna approve these permits, seconded
Yeah.
by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Trustee Resolution 2023-341, waterfowl hunting location permit. Permit 99 Jeremy Allen has been approved for injured from waitlist to get a permit, to the site.
Hang on, wait a second.
Wait, where is
Where
that?
was-
You skipped,
Right,
you should be on
page
page
10.
10.
Resolution 340,
340.
Oh, yeah.
location
Sorry.
111.
Went down too far. 2023-340, waterfowl hunting location permit. Terminated a waterfowl hunting location permit 111 East Shinnecock Bay, Southampton, New York.
I'll second this.
Seconded trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, 341.
2023-341, Waterfall Hunting Location. 2023-24 Hunting Location Application for approved individual from the wait list. Jeremy Allen, permit 99.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2023-342, to recall and amend Trustee Resolution 2023-264 to approve new waterfowl hunting location for Eric Hagan in Mulvihill Pond, Sag Harbor, New York. I'd like to ask that this be approved.
Second.
Hang on a second here.
So,
Waterfowl,
This was, do you want an explanation of it, or?
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of back and forth going on here, so you want to explain it? Because you've got,
So, you guys might need to help me on this a little bit, Jess and James. So, the original application was denied because there wasn't, access.
Correct.
And then the applicant brought forth access to this location.
They
Using-
appealed, yeah, they
public
technically
using-
appealed the denial, and said that there was access, which was then, it was further reviewed again by the Bay Constables.
We discussed this in work session as part of, but it might look a little cumbersome
Right.
in the writing of it. But it basically was, originally when he came forward, he had access over private lands, and then upon that denial, he went back and found access over the public trail system, and then that's why this is coming forward again.
right, so for the public's edification, it was originally viewed as a denial until there was clear proof provided by the Bay Constables that there was public access availability through the town's trail system, not specifically over private.
And
So
this-
therefore, that's why it's such a cumbersome resolution.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, it did meet the tests of the Blue Book, the
Yep.
public safety concerns, and did meet all the tests where it became, after an initial thought of denial, an approvable permit.
And it's a boat.
And it's, right, and there's special
scooter.
conditions on there. Go ahead, trustee Pell.
Go ahead, you're doing good.
Nope, you're all right. It's gonna be a scooter,
Scooter, yeah, boat.
right? It's not gonna be your traditional duck blind. It's gonna be a different type of an apparatus that's suitable to the area. So that's
Be-
Hunting.
specifically used for hunting in these types of conditions.
because there's no actual boat launch here.
Yep.
Right, so it's a permit that's been specially conditioned and adjusted based on the site-specific considerations, therefore being an approvable application.
Yep.
Okay, All right, so-
I'd like to recommend its
I'll give a
approval.
second.
there's a second by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, this way the public understands
Mhm.
what we arrived at here. Okay, we have trustee resolution 2023-343. It's an authorization to extend expiration dates for select trustee permits to individuals until January 31st, 2024. 4x4s, boat ramp, recreational shellfish, gillnet, and pot permit, commercial shellfish, gillnet, and pot permit, commercial guide. Just to explain also to the public, a lot of times when you're coming into the new year and you're getting everything set, there is a little bit of a delay in how logistics are handled. And this year, we're gonna be moving the trustee's office from town hall to our new location in Hampton Bays,
Which is,
240.
240 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays. Okay, so come visit us there to do your permitting, you come visit and say hi. But we're acknowledging the fact that there may be a bit of a lag, so there's gonna be some courtesy given here, and that's what this resolution is representing.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
aye. Trustee Resolution 2023-344, notice of public hearing for the termination of waterfowl hunting location permit number 155. Please take notice, trustees of the freeholders and commonality of the town of Southampton will be holding a public hearing to hear all persons for or against a resolution to terminate a conditional waterfowl hunting location, permit number 155, located inside Burnett's Creek, southwest corner of Mecox Bay in the hamlet of Watermill, Monday, December 18th, 2023, 1 p.m. to recommend this approval.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, trustee resolution 2023-345, it's a notice of public hearing on amendment of Blue Book A340, amending the management products of the waters of the town of Southampton, Article 4, Section 21, waterfowl sanctuaries. We will be having a public hearing on Monday, December 18th, 2023 at 1 p.m.
I'll second that.
Seconded by trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
We have trustee resolution 2023-346, recall and amend resolution 2023, trustee 21, to authorize the continuation of retaining the professional services of Joseph Lombardo for legal consultation, whereas the Southampton Town Trustees resolution 2023-21 was adopted on January 23rd, 2023, authorizing payment for the professional services of counsel Joseph Lombardo for 2023, and whereas that resolution shall be recalled and amended to amend the amount from in an amount not to exceed 15,000 to in an amount not to exceed 20,000, and so therefore be it resolved.
Second.
Seconded by trustee Pell, all in favor?
Aye.
Trustee Resolution 2023-347, Budget and Finance, warrant 21 of 2023. Per recommendation of the review of the town comp control, the following vendor payment warrant 21 be approved for the amount of $22,434.83. Automatic rental, $7.33. Be Ready, $12,937.50. Card member, $2,436.24. Law Office of Con & Con, $2,967. Construct LLC, $511.70. Home Depot, $77.96. Joseph Lorada, $980. John M. Lucia, $500. East Hampton Trustees, $2,000.
What's the 500 to John Lucas?
I think that's a refund, right?
Yes,
It's a refund.
And the two,
non-jurisdiction.
and the
Oh,
two,
okay.
and the 2,000 to the East Hampton Town Trustees is our
That's-
share of the water quality
Right.
From,
funding for Sag
Right.
Harbor Cove
Yeah.
that the college does, right?
Exactly.
yeah,
We're collaborating with everybody for water quality.
yes.
Yes. That concludes,
I need a second.
seconded
I'll
by
second it.
trustee Warner, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, let's pay the bills. That concludes that part of the agenda. Is there any other
Yes,
discussion?
yes, I do. Trustee Rhodes.
Yes.
Well,
Well, no, it's a discussion that we're gonna have
Okay,
about,
okay.
you know, hiring this individual, Joseph M. Friedman, to do analysis of roads in the town that the trustees allegedly own. We've been disputing this for years, but we've been maintaining them, plowing them for snow, repaving them, drainage, and multiple other things that we've done through the funding of the curb cuts that on all the roads. As we are starting to realize that we do not have funding enough to go forward for many, or much more time. Basically, we're gonna run out of money because there's only so much money that's taken in for a one-time curb cut, and these roads need to be maintained for many years. We had asked this individual for a price quote to be able to look into the roads and the true ownership of the roads, and so that we know that if we own them, we should maintain them. If we don't own them, then we should give them back to whoever they rightfully belong to.
Right,
So
so,
our special counsel, Joe Lombardo, is here, and he's done some research for us as we have asked him, but would you come up and fill in a little bit more?
Good afternoon, Joseph Lombardo, Special Counsel. Yeah, this is a question that goes back a number of years, and I believe my research indicates we don't own the trustee roads, and we need to find out, because as trustee Warner has pointed out, the costs every year go up, the fund balance goes down or isn't replenished, and if it's our road, then we should figure a way to maintain them and be able to fund the maintenance work that needs to be done. And if they're not, we need to give them to the rightful owner and let them figure out how. We have decided that we will start with Old Noyak Path, Little Noyak Path rather. We're going to do a title scan, basically back to the colonial era, to make a determination when the road came into existence. The date will be instructive because, as you know, the law of 1818 took the trustees sitting before me out of the real estate business. If that's the case, we don't own them, and we need to find out who, but we can make a much stronger argument that we don't based on a title search. So this gentleman is well-versed and experienced in title matters. He was counsel to a number of title companies. He has been used by Be Ready, our counsel, on some other road issues going back for other municipalities. And I think his fee is reasonable, and I think that we should consider retaining this gentleman. If it's your intention, I'll draft a resolution for the next meeting that we can pass up or down for the retention.
Just a real quick clarification, we're not getting rid of all trustee roads.
No.
Because the trustee roads that we have title to and have public access to the water are the most important ones.
Absolutely.
And the ones that we should, take a closer look in the future. But these specific roads that are in the middle of the woods and have been basically delegated trustee roads, I don't know how, because I know my good friend John Semler was on this board 20 years before me, and he was dealing with it. So that's going back almost 40 years of trustee, information of questioning this specific road that we're going to look at.
Well, back in 1842, there was a court case here in Suffolk County. It's called the Sag Mill case, and it involved the proprietor trustees, not your board, but the board that went into the land business, basically, with the cleavage. They hauled something in the middle of a road that abutted property they had sold to a homeowner, and he owned to the half point of the road. And it clearly said it was proprietor trustees. It encroached on his part of the road, and he wanted to take it down. They said, you can't. Supreme Court said, yeah, he can. They were trespassing on his property. So if that's the case, he owned to the middle of the road. It wasn't the trustees of the freeholders. The other half was owned by the proprietor trustees. So we're going to try to peel back the layers of the onion and try to figure out where.
Right, but let's just take even a further clarification. Okay. First of all, the oldest elected board that there is in the country. We predate everything. So,
Right.
And the towns formed and the villages formed and so forth. And, obviously the underwater lands and wetlands and some of the roads we know we own.
Right.
Okay? And public access points going down to the ocean, beach, and other access points to water that we own. It's fine. But as we've gotten over, quite developed, we're suffering from obviously, all the septic systems and all the water quality issues that are flowing into the bay and all the density issues. And there's no such thing anymore. It's like a secret shortcut. Everybody heavily
Right.
uses all of these roads.
Correct.
And these roads that were very lightly inhabited with little small cottages and people that wanted to be off in their own way. Now they're multi-million-dollar homes on these roads.
Right.
So in the interest of public safety, the trustees have been doing what they can do with no recurring sustainable revenue source, basically putting Band-Aids on potholes and drainage and all in the interest of public safety. Now,
Decades.
for decades, right. So let's be realistic. This is not sustainable. So we've been trying to come up with a solution for sustainability since the town is collecting substantial tax revenue from these homeowners.
Correct.
To get this whole thing to work in some way, shape, or form.
Well,
Okay.
most importantly, what you have to remember is, even in colonial days, when land was subdivided, roads were provided for. The proprietor trustees enacted regulations involving roads that abutted pastures that abutted a public road. If a gate was left open and by somebody who was passing, which they had a right there because there was a public access easement there, if a cow got out, it was captured and it was basically held by the proprietor trustees or the governmental authority, and the owner had to claim it and pay for basically the poundage, if you will, of the animal. However, if it was a person trying to traverse the property that left the gate open, it wasn't the property owner's responsibility to pay for the welfare of the animal while it was in the town's custody. Again, we weren't in the land business. So if the roads were set up by the people who sold the land, then
Right.
some mechanism has to exist.
Right,
And
well, the
we have to,
bottom-
we have to provide for the public safety, but we also can't do it without proper funding.
Correct. The bottom line is, you need services that are provided to people. These are heavily traveled roads. They require services. It's in the public's best interest. It's just that it requires a conversation of people sitting around the table and figuring out what's the best mechanism of which there's sustainable funding to provide the services that are needed. It's not realistic to have, your kid fund his medical school, college education from a lemonade stand. It's just not gonna work.
Right.
Okay? So here we are, the oldest elected board in the country, and it's no secret we tried to get ourselves on sound financial ground for the last 10 years I've been here, and now we're delayed for another year, and this is a piece of it.
Right.
That would not have resolved this, but it certainly would have been a step in the right direction to then move off to this trustee road problem. So, we have a new town board coming, and we are a year ahead of starting on what we need for our tax district, and we're getting way ahead of the research needed to have a productive conversation to try and do what's in the best interest of public safety.
Correct.
And this is, I would almost consider it a pilot project, because we're taking one stretch of one
Yeah.
road. So Little Noyak Path from Noyak Path to Deerfield Road.
Correct.
Which is a source of a lot of issues.
Right.
And it's heavily traveled.
And it has no access to the water, which would
Correct.
suggest it's not our responsibility at the end of the day.
Correct. And again, for all of us here, public safety is number one.
Well, that's true. I mean, we've always been responsible. In a snowstorm, we'll plow. We'll get an assist from the highway department because ambulances and emergency vehicles need to traverse the roads in an emergency situation. But again, if we don't have a mechanism to properly fund,
But Joe, we don't always get that. We're burning a lot of our own
Exactly.
vehicles. We're burning our trucks. We're burning up our plows. We're burning up our labor.
yeah,
We're not getting properly funded for that, and it's not sustainable.
well, I recall the last time we bought a more heavy-duty truck, and there was a discussion as to whether we needed even more because there was going to be a plow hooked up to it. The differential in costs are thousands of dollars, and
Well,
again,
the wear
we
and
do
tear-
it, but
And depreciation on the vehicles based on this use is substantial.
Correct.
And it's not sustainable off of the limited amount that comes in from curb cut fees when you're factoring in drainage and everything else. And we even reimburse the town back for salt and sand that we take, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
In the interest of public safety, we do this, but we need to get to sustainability. This is like step one, so we can have a conversation with
Right.
the basis of a template, as you say.
right, because we do need to worry about our preparation for our 2025 budget starting in the summer of 2024.
Yep.
So this is the head start.
We started now.
Take
Yeah.
it a step further, we have asked the town for financial help on these roads a couple of times.
Yes,
They initially said yes, and they have not contributed 1 cent. Just for
that's my
clarification.
understanding.
Just for,
That's reality.
That's reality.
Okay.
And I wanted to clarify that, so that's why we're following through on this.
And there are ongoing concerns from multiple residents, not only on this road.
And
but
valid
multiple
concerns,
roads.
very valid concerns,
Uh-huh.
yes.
And let it be known that the trustees are doing what they can in the interest of public safety.
But now
Correct.
we're taking another step.
Correct.
Yep.
So I want to thank you for
We'll move forward.
We'll do
taking the first step.
resolution for next meeting.
Is there
I
any
will do
other,
Yes.
any other discussions that need to happen?
I have a couple things. I've sent everybody an email and a text asking you to take a quick look at the Mill Pond boat launch revegetation, so that we can go ahead and get SpectraServe, the company that did the water lily removal, paid after they did the re-veg. So if you'd get back to me on that, that'd be great. I hope that Solitude Lake Management, the company that did the carp removal last spring, will be able to present at the next meeting to make recommendations for going forward with work on Mill Pond.
Can we send out an email to the trustee-elects that are gonna come aboard to have them
Be part of that, sure.
participate in that meeting? Because this is a big project, and it's been ongoing for many, many years, and they need to have some understanding what's going on and having in-hand, in
Plus, I think
person
the sooner they,
discussion.
they get a feel for the level of work that they campaign for, I think is a good thing.
Yes.
There's a lot of work that's gotta be done, right?
Yes, so I will absolutely do that, that's a good idea. We are opening Mecox Bay today, as we speak, and we are in process for both the long dredge on Mecox and the long dredge on Sag. There are a couple things that I'll be sharing with you when I've got a couple more details.
Give me a quick question.
Sure.
before- Did they ever find the float that they lost in Nicox?
I think it's, wait, who, Somos?
So much,
Yes,
yes.
yes, it wasn't lost.
It-
It was,
Is it back in a,
they took it out.
so we're not getting monitoring from it anymore?
It always comes out for the winter due
Okay,
to ice.
all right, I was,
So there's a GPS on that float, that was in a storm,
yeah,
and there was an error message that was getting sent to the headquarters up in Stony Brook because there was so much movement. They thought that perhaps an anchor line had broken loose. I think there were either 2 or 3 anchor lines on that, so it was moving around more than usual. So it wasn't broken loose and lost,
oh, okay.
Happy
Yeah.
ending, I love it.
right?
Yeah.
Every
Thank
once in
you.
a while. So I will be in touch about Long Dredge to Mecox and Sag. The one last question is, I got an email from Dr. Robert Young, inquiring about, we had solicited an opinion, an expert opinion on living shorelines, and he was asking where we stood with that.
That's a good question. Because we had the other thing going on, but that's not going on.
Right.
That's an
So-
excellent question.
So, just if we could follow up on that, maybe so that it could be addressed at the next meeting or before, that'd be great.
James, you wanna send everybody around, the email of his report that he'd sent back? So we have it fresh on our,
Or I have it too. if-
or,
I'm
yeah,
pretty
so we
sure.
all have it fresh to, the review, so we can have it on the discussion for next meeting. Because I know the applicant that had asked about the living shorelines, I seen him out last week, and he was very interested in moving forward with the project, being that he has gotten the report and looked at it, and he really didn't see there was any negative. I mean, I know it's Bill's area I'm talking about, but I did talk to Aram about the report that was
I was
generated.
wondering if he sent the freedom of information request.
Yes,
Must-
I believe he got it, and so I'd like to start that discussion again with
Put it
Robert
on
Young's
for-
opinion.
Put on for the next meeting.
Okay, good.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. I'll
Happy
entertain-
Hanukkah to everyone who
Happy-
celebrates. Great, that's this week.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope, we're done.
All right. I'd like to
We're
make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it.
Seconded by trustee Warner. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody have a nice afternoon.
Jess,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn, I called both of his numbers twice today,
Yep.
and now both numbers are out of service, so,
Do we have an email?
Is he?